Have you ever stopped to think that some everyday habits might quietly be pushing people away even if they never say a word? As we grow older, we naturally settle into patterns that feel comfortable. But sometimes, these familiar behaviors become blind spots, shaping how others perceive us without our awareness. In today's video, we're going to explore 12 small but impactful habits that could gradually undermine your sense of dignity and create distance between you and those around you. Stick with me until the end. Not only will you recognize what might be holding you back, but you'll also walk away with gentle, practical ways to make meaningful changes. These small shifts can boost your confidence, deepen your relationships, and help you move through life with the grace and self-respect you've earned, changing both how people relate to you and how you see yourself. Before we begin, if you find this topic helpful, please take a moment to like the video. Your support helps me continue sharing these valuable insights about aging well. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. If this video resonates with you, leave a comment with a number. If not, comment 0. That feedback helps me grow and create better content for you. Let's begin. Habit number 1. One of the most telling signs of how someone sees themselves is how they care for their appearance or don't. It's something others notice immediately, even if they don't mention it out loud out of politeness or awkwardness. The signs are often clear. Clothes that look slept in or stained, hair that hasn't been brushed or washed, nails left too long or unclean, or body odor that lingers more than it should. These may seem like small details, but they send a powerful message. Keeping yourself clean and presentable isn't just about looking good, it's about signaling to the world that you still take pride in yourself. In our younger years, hygiene is often second nature, a part of our daily routine. But with age, energy can dip, motivation fades, and it's easy to fall into the mindset of, what's the point? The truth is, while this change may feel minor to you, it can stand out to those around you. Family members, especially younger ones, may not know how to bring it up without hurting your feelings. So they respond in quiet ways, sitting a little farther away, keeping visits short, or avoiding close contact. What your appearance communicates isn't about chasing beauty or trying to impress others. When hygiene slips, it can give off the impression that you've checked out, that you've stopped caring, and that energy influences how others treat you. That subtle shift in how people treat you, a little more distance, a little less warmth, isn't usually about love fading. More often, it reflects what your appearance silently communicates. A wrinkled shirt, unkempt hair, or the absence of a fresh scent may send a message that you've given up on yourself. On the other hand, small signs of self-care like clean clothes, neat grooming, and a pleasant presence speak volumes. They say, I'm still here. I still care. I still respect myself and I respect you. Personal hygiene is more than habit. It's a quiet signal to the world that you're engaged with life. It invites others to feel comfortable around you, to draw closer. When you show up with dignity, it shapes the energy you bring to your relationships and how people respond in return. If you're still with me in this video and finding value in these insights, please type the number 1 in the comments below. It lets me know you're still watching and that this message is reaching someone who needs it. Thank you for being here. Habit number 2. Speaking without a filter. With age often comes a well-earned confidence to speak freely. And for many, the inner voice that once said, maybe don't say that, grows quieter. You might find yourself saying things like, I'm just telling it like it is, or I've lived long enough to be blunt. That honesty might feel refreshing to you, a release after years of biting your tongue. But how that honesty lands on others can be very different. Unfiltered comments, especially those about someone's appearance, their choices, or how they live, can feel more critical than candid. You might notice people hesitate before replying, glance away, or quietly retreat from deeper conversation. These subtle reactions aren't about being too sensitive. They're about self-protection, a way to avoid what feels like judgment, even if that's not what you meant to give. The key is this. Before speaking, take a brief pause and ask yourself, is what I'm about to say kind? Is it truly helpful? Sometimes what feels like truth-telling is actually frustration coming out in disguise. A helpful tip? Think about whether you'd want someone to say the same thing to your grandchild. If not, it may be time to rephrase, or maybe not say it at all. Your wisdom has incredible value, and when it's shared with kindness and patience, people will lean in to hear more. Compassion makes your voice more powerful, not less. By softening your delivery without watering down your truth, you become someone whose words comfort, guide, and connect. Habit number 3. Holding on to clothes that no longer fit. We all find comfort in the familiar, whether it's a favorite morning routine, a familiar walking route, or a beloved outfit that's been in our closet for years. But when clothing no longer fits the way it used to, it can send the wrong message. Whether it's a pair of pants that sag or bunch, shirts that hang unevenly, or shoes long past their prime, these choices, though unintentional, may come across as neglect rather than nostalgia. Habit number 3. Comfort often lives in the familiar routines, old recipes, or well-worn outfits we've loved for years. But when those clothes no longer fit properly or feel dated, they may quietly shape how others see us. Pants that sag or bunch in odd places, shirts that pull at the seams or hang too loose, shoes worn down to threads, or styles that belong to decades past all send signals, whether we realize it or not. Most people won't comment aloud out of kindness, but they notice, and it influences how they perceive your presence. This isn't about chasing fashion or trying to dress like someone half your age. It's about showing up in a way that reflects pride in who you are today. Clothing that's clean, fits well, and looks intentional tells others and yourself that you're still engaged, still vibrant, still choosing to care. When someone sees an older adult dressed with care, maybe a sweater that flatters your frame or a pair of polished shoes, there's often a quiet respect. It's not about labels or expensive brands. It's about effort. Even simple updates, swapping old trousers for a better fitting pair or choosing a shirt in a color that brightens your features, can shift the energy in a room. You're not just dressed. You're present. You're confident. You remind others that aging doesn't mean fading, it means evolving. If this part resonates with you, please leave a 2 in the comments so I know you're still watching and reflecting. Thank you again for sharing this time with me. Habit number 4. With the wisdom of age often comes a desire to share it, and rightly so. After a lifetime of experiences, it's only natural to want your voice to be heard. But sometimes, that eagerness can overshadow the space others need to speak. You may find yourself jumping in with a story, offering advice before it's asked for, or steering the conversation back to your perspective. Minutes pass, and you realize you've been doing most of the talking. While this comes from a place of warmth or helpfulness, it can leave others, especially younger family members, feeling unheard. People rarely confront this behavior directly. Instead, they may drift away slowly, keeping chats short, holding back their thoughts, or avoiding deeper talks. It's not disrespect, it's self-protection. They want a mutual exchange, not a lecture. The good news? This is easy to adjust. Start by listening more than you speak. Ask open questions and allow pauses in the conversation. Resist the urge to fill every silence with advice. When you make room for others to share, they feel appreciated and valued, and that builds trust. Ironically, the less you try to steer the conversation, the more your thoughts will be invited. Younger people especially are drawn to elders who truly listen. When you balance your wisdom with curiosity, you become the kind of person others seek out, a bridge between generations. Someone whose voice deepens connection instead of silencing it. Habit number 5. Complaining about young people these days. It often starts with a quick thought. Maybe you see a teenager glued to their phone, unaware of their surroundings. Or a young adult making a life decision that seems puzzling or even reckless. On their own, these moments might seem harmless. But over time, they can build into a habit of regular commentary about what's wrong with the younger generation. You might catch yourself voicing these thoughts during dinners, coffee chats, or while out running errands, not meaning harm but letting frustrations spill out. The problem is, when this becomes a pattern, it sends a strong message that you're no longer curious about the world younger people live in, that you've stopped trying to understand them. Whether you realize it or not, it can come across as dismissive, as if their challenges or values aren't worth your time. This tendency isn't new. Every generation has looked at the next with skepticism. But when criticism becomes your go-to response, it doesn't bring you closer, it creates distance. Young people may feel rejected or unseen. They might stop sharing their lives with you, not because they don't care, but because they don't feel safe from judgment. The good news? You can shift the dynamic by changing your approach. Instead of saying, "Kids these days don't know how easy they have it," try asking, "What's it like being your age in today's world?" That single shift from criticism to curiosity opens up space for real conversations. Your greatest influence doesn't come from reminding others how things used to be, but by building bridges. When you show younger generations that you're still listening, still willing to understand, they'll be more likely to open up, seek your wisdom, and truly connect. They'll come to you not out of obligation, but because they trust you. And that kind of connection? It starts with empathy, not lectures. Habit number 6, talking too much about health problems. Let's be honest, getting older comes with its fair share of physical changes. Doctor visits, new medications, aches that show up out of nowhere. It's natural to want to talk about it. But if most of your conversations focus on your health, it can start to feel overwhelming to those around you. Whether it's a casual lunch or a family call, constantly circling back to your latest diagnosis, symptoms, or medical routines can shift the energy of the conversation. Instead of feeling connected, others, especially younger relatives, may start to feel helpless, unsure of what to say, or simply emotionally drained. That doesn't mean you need to pretend everything is fine or suffer in silence. You absolutely deserve compassion and care. But the key is in finding the right balance. Share when it matters, with people who are ready to support you, and in moments that invite genuine connection, not out of habit or as filler in a conversation. Remember, your life is about much more than your chart or prescriptions. You have stories, humor, interests, memories, and insights to share. By talking about what brings you joy, a funny neighbor, a good book, a beautiful sunrise, you become someone others are drawn to, not because they feel sorry for you, but because they enjoy your presence. Continue to share updates about your health when the time feels right, but try not to let it dominate every conversation. Make space to ask others what's going on in their lives. What's been making them laugh? What challenges are they facing? What small joys are they discovering? And don't hesitate to share the simple stories that bring your world to life, a book you couldn't put down, a clever squirrel who figured out your bird feeder, or your neighbor's funny gardening experiment. Your life holds far more richness than any medical file could ever reflect. When you focus on what lifts your spirits or stirs your curiosity, you naturally become someone who lifts the energy in the room. You create the kind of conversations that flow both ways, where others feel heard, appreciated, and genuinely connected to you. And that, more than anything, deepens relationships in the most lasting way. If you're still watching and enjoying these reflections, leave a 3 in the comments to let me know you're here with me. I appreciate your time and presence. Habit number 7, being rigid about outdated habits or spatial awareness. As we get older, it's completely natural for our pace to slow. Our reflexes aren't what they once were, and our sense of surroundings might not be as sharp. These changes often sneak in gradually, and we may not notice them right away. Imagine pausing in the middle of a grocery aisle without realizing you're blocking it, or stopping abruptly on a crowded sidewalk, unintentionally causing others to shift course or bump into you. These small moments may seem harmless, but they can disrupt the flow of those around you. And while most people won't say anything, you might catch a quiet sigh or a sideways glance. Over time, these seemingly minor interactions can add up, subtly pushing others to avoid you in shared spaces. But here's the good news. You can prevent this simply by practicing what we might call spatial mindfulness. This means staying aware of how you're moving through the world. Move at your own pace, there's no need to rush, but consider others too. Stick to one side of the path when walking. If you need to pause, do so in a spot that allows others to pass easily. Occasionally glance around to check how your presence might be affecting the space. These small habits show others that you're thoughtful and still actively engaged with the world around you. It's a quiet kind of courtesy, but it speaks volumes, and it helps you remain connected, respected, and warmly welcomed in public spaces. Habit number 8, moving through the world without spatial awareness. One of the quietest, most overlooked shifts that comes with age is how we occupy physical space. Our steps may slow, reaction times might lag, and we may no longer register just how much space we take up or how our movements affect others. It's rarely intentional, but the impact is real. Picture this. You pause in the middle of a busy store aisle to look at a list, unaware you're blocking others trying to get by. Or maybe you stop abruptly on a crowded path, causing someone behind you to stumble. You might slowly veer off course during a walk, unintentionally stepping into someone's way. These tiny disruptions may go unspoken, but they're noticed. A quiet sigh, a quick step to the side, or someone choosing not to walk near you again, these are the subtle signals. Over time, this can create a sense of social distance. Others may start to avoid encounters, not out of rudeness, but because it feels awkward or inconvenient. The good news? It's entirely preventable with a little extra attention. The solution lies in developing a gentle practice of spatial mindfulness, tuning into your body, your movement, and the people around you. You don't have to rush or push yourself to move faster, but you can be thoughtful about where you pause, how you step aside, or when you scan your surroundings. Stay to one side of a walkway. Step into a quiet corner if you need to stop. Look around before turning or changing direction. These small gestures speak volumes. They show others that you're not just physically present, you're mentally and socially engaged. It reinforces a sense of dignity, courtesy, and belonging. And it transforms public spaces into places of ease, not frustration for you and for everyone around you. Habit number 9. Joking in ways that no longer land well. Laughter is one of life's great connectors. It bridges gaps, lifts moods, and builds bonds. But the kind of humor we grew up with, the jokes that once had everyone in stitches, may not always land the same way today. What once felt lighthearted or funny can now come across as off-key, outdated, or even offensive in a more sensitive, inclusive world. Our sense of humor is often rooted in the values and culture of our youth. Maybe it's teasing, sarcasm, or references that once felt harmless. But times change, and so does the social context. What once drew chuckles might now earn a polite smile, a change of subject, or an uncomfortable silence. What once brought belly laughs around the dinner table may now leave the room feeling tense or quiet. In today's more thoughtful and inclusive world, humor that once felt harmless, a bit of sarcasm, a playful jab, or a stereotype slipped into a joke, may no longer be received the same way. While these jokes might feel like a nod to simpler times, younger generations tend to view them through a lens of empathy and sensitivity. And when humor doesn't adapt to that shift, it can come across as tone-deaf or exclusionary. You may not hear direct feedback. Instead, you'll notice it in subtler ways: a tight smile, a quick subject change, or friends and family avoiding deeper conversation. Over time, these moments can chip away at connection, leaving only surface-level interactions where warmth and openness once lived. But adapting your humor doesn't mean silencing yourself or losing what makes you joyful. It's about tuning your sense of fun to today's rhythm. Before sharing a joke, take a moment to consider its tone. Does it invite people in? Or might it make someone feel left out, judged, or uncomfortable? Try shifting toward humor that brings people together, self-deprecating stories that reveal your own quirks, witty takes on life's everyday oddities, gentle teasing that makes everyone feel included. These types of laughs don't just entertain, they bond. Being willing to adjust shows not just a sense of awareness, but growth. And that's a trait people admire deeply. When your sense of humor evolves with the times, it becomes a bridge spanning generations, building warmth and reminding everyone that laughter really is timeless when shared with care. If you're still watching and feeling inspired, comment with a 4 below. That tells me you're still here, still reflecting, and still walking this journey with me. Thank you for being a part of it. Habit number 10. Acting more helpless than you are. It's completely normal to feel hesitant with certain tasks as we age. Whether it's struggling with new technology, feeling unsteady carrying a load, or needing more time to complete something, these are real and valid experiences. But there's a subtle line between truly needing help and defaulting to it. Phrases like, "I can't figure this out. Can you just do it for me?" might seem harmless, but when used too often, they can shift relationships. Family members may begin to feel more like caretakers than loved ones. Friends may pull back, unsure how to respond to repeated dependence. Often, This habit comes from a very human place, the fear of looking foolish, the frustration of failing, or simply feeling overwhelmed by how quickly the world changes. But over time, leaning too heavily on others for tasks you could try handling may unintentionally shrink your sense of independence and create quiet strain in your relationships. But over time, relying too often on others for things you could try yourself can quietly erode your independence and begin to strain your relationships. It can give the impression that you've stopped making an effort, which can be frustrating for those who care about you. The real strength lies in choosing to try, even when it's hard. People admire effort far more than perfection. Whether it's figuring out how to use your smartphone, carrying your own groceries, or learning how to adjust the television settings, taking initiative builds confidence and reinforces your ability to adapt. Even if it takes a few tries or a few mistakes, what matters is that you're showing up with resilience. That effort earns respect. Of course, there's no shame in asking for help. But when you do, be clear and kind. Say what you need and acknowledge the time and energy it takes. That balance between independence and thoughtful support strengthens your connections and prevents loved ones from feeling overwhelmed or taken for granted. When you lean into what you can still do, you show that you're fully engaged in your life, that you're not just getting by, you're still participating, still learning, still growing. And that's one of the most powerful ways to honor yourself and those who support you. Habit on beer. Insisting you're always right. After living through decades of change, challenge, and experience, it's easy to feel like you've earned the right to speak with authority. And in many ways, you have. But when the urge to be right overtakes the desire to truly connect, it can quietly create distance. Correcting someone mid-sentence, dismissing their viewpoint, or saying things like, "Trust me, I've been around long enough to know," might come from a place of confidence, but they can leave others feeling dismissed or unheard. This isn't about your experience being invalid. It's about how it's shared. When conversations feel one-sided, people tend to retreat. They may stop offering their thoughts, avoid meaningful discussion, or choose to keep things light and distant. And before you realize it, you're surrounded by people who no longer open up, not because they don't care. Wisdom, at its best, isn't about being the loudest voice. It's about knowing when to speak, when to listen, and how to create space for mutual understanding. Rather than presenting your opinions as unshakable facts, try framing them as insights, then ask others what they think. This signals humility, openness, and a willingness to learn even now. When you hold your experience with gentle confidence and remain receptive to new perspectives, people feel safe with you. They feel seen. And that kind of presence draws others in, not because they feel obligated, but because they genuinely enjoy your company. In the end, lasting connection doesn't come from being right, it comes from being real. Closing thoughts. Thank you for walking through this reflection with me. We've explored 12 subtle behaviors that, over time, can quietly shape how others perceive us as we grow older, often without us even realizing it. So now I ask, what stood out to you? What's one small change you feel inspired to make? Please share your thoughts in the comments, even one thing you've learned or something you plan to do differently. Your insight might be just what someone else needs to hear. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you never miss a future message. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, meaningful content to inform and uplift. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.